Hey, welcome back to the Gray Area, a podcast where we're just two dudes having a conversation.
As a really quick reminder, nothing we say is intended to offend anyone, but we do welcome your opinions and comments in the comment section below.
Today we have a dilemma for you guys.
All right, so the dilemma starts like this. So let's suppose that you're a manager at a nonprofit. Your supervisee has been a planned giving fundraiser there for 5 years.
4 years ago, his performance was poor because he was undergoing chemotherapy. Since then, it's improved to average, but in the past few months has declined severely again. He's raised only half as much money as before.
All right, so he explains that his cancer has come back and it's spread into his lymph nodes. What a lovely word, lymph. And now he's in the middle of a 6 month chemotherapy treatment where the doctor says his prognosis is not too good.
He says he prefers to keep working, but if you terminate him, he won't file a claim under the Americans with Disabilities Act.
All right, so he's his family's only source of income, and the nonprofit salary that you're giving him is modest, so he doesn't have much in his savings accounts,
Mm-hmm.
and he's just barely getting by. Now, the ultimate question is,
Do
do
you
you
keep him?
still keep him on? Do you keep him on staff?
Yeah. Um, you know,
What is your opinion?
if I'd say I would probably give him another chance to pick himself up because if he's his family's sole source of income, and it also depends on how my business is working, how the nonprofit is working.
That's
Um,
fair.
because if it's wait, like, what does it mean by a nonprofit? Like a just a charity?
So, like, not really. Like, they do work and they take in money.
Hmm.
Like, they get donations to do work in the community,
Okay.
but they're not, you know, they get enough money to pay their employees and like necessary materials, but they don't accumulate a big savings.
Hmm. Okay.
Like, the business isn't there to make money; they're there to do service.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess it really, yeah, again depends on how if he can pick up his slack, or if he has to. Well, I don't want to say pick up his slack. He's undergoing chemotherapy, but if he can improve his numbers, I would probably keep him. And
Well,
if
wouldn't don't you think that that basically be serving him an ultimatum? Like, if you go to this guy, right?
mm,
Let's call him Joe, because
yeah,
Joe, and you go up to him and you're like, "Hey, your numbers are dropping. You have to get them up, or I'm going to fire you."
yeah,
Do you think that that would put an unnecessary extra amount of stress on his system, meaning that his condition would worsen?
maybe that I mean that is a good point. Um,
Because, like,
yeah, that yeah,
yeah,
I wouldn't want to cause somebody with undergoing cancer additional harm, and I'm pretty sure there is if I'm working at a nonprofit, there's probably a good like protection plan or health, well, maybe not a health plan, but something I could do to help the student out. And it also depends on how long he says he's been there for 5 years.
yeah, he's been working there for 5 years. So the
So
first year, I guess, was average.
yeah,
Then he got his first round,
4 years
and it
ago.
went down.
Yeah.
But then now he's gotten back up to average because he made it through the first time, and then it's
Mm.
back again.
Yeah, I'd probably keep him, unless like it is really becoming a problem.
Well, I mean, you got to look at it from a business standpoint as well,
Yeah,
because, like, realistically, yes, it's a nonprofit. Yes, they have to function like a business.
that is true.
And if it was any other employee and their numbers tanked, of course you'd have a conversation like, hey, how are you going to get your numbers back up first, obviously.
Yeah.
But then if it doesn't get better, anyone else would be terminated. So what necessarily makes this guy special? What makes it any different than firing someone else whose numbers also dropped and he's not getting them back up?
Well, I guess it's the only difference would be that his cancer is the thing that is causing his. Well, if it is his cancer that is causing his work to damper, which
Well,
I would assume
I imagine he's fundraising less because he has to be in the hospital more.
yeah, which kind of sucks. Or you could flip it around. Go on Facebook, say, hey, our hard worker Tim, he's out there with cancer, but he's still working hard here at this non-profit organization. You can get some good publicity out of that.
That's fair. That's fair. Good publicity. I guess it is good on the publicity side, where it's like, we are a company that cares for the people. We're nonprofit, and we let people with cancer work until they die.
We'll milk them dry.
Exactly. It's important to note that this guy, the guy who has cancer, is super chill, because technically speaking, if you did fire him, he could file the claim under the Disabilities Act.
Very much so.
And then you're screwed.
What if he was threatening to file a claim against the Disabilities Act if you were going to fire him? Would that give you more of a right? You're like, hey, you're threatening me.
To be fair, the thing is, you're not firing him because
he has cancer.
Has disability.
Yeah.
You're firing him because his numbers dropped, just like any other business.
That is true.
And it doesn't matter why his numbers dropped. You could have, buddy Timothy over there, and his numbers dropped because he, I don't know, decided he really likes dirt biking. So now he's dirt biking all the time.
Yeah.
And then you have, I don't know, Chanel, who decided that she wants to go and visit her family more often because they just had a kid. That's fine, but her numbers dropped. And she would probably be fired as well.
As a business standpoint, it's pretty it's you can be a little bit heartless. Because because at the end of the day, their numbers have dropped. Because for this reason or not,
the numbers did drop.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, if you want to be a good human being, you'd keep him on staff.
Yeah,
if you want to not be a scumbag. But from a business standpoint, I think it would be more logical to invite him to not continue working.
Yeah, to
because I mean, with the whole stress thing that I mentioned earlier, it goes both ways. Because yes, he would prefer to continue working, and if you fire him, of course, now his family's hooped for income.
Indeed.
But now he has more time to spend with his family.
If he were to pass.
While he's, in with a bad prognosis,
I guess if I could, I would probably try to find a way to give this man maybe paid vacation, or not paid vacation, but a sick days. If I was that guy, sick, I would try to get get the sick days going. I don't know if paid organized nonprofits have sick days.
I don't know. I'm not a connoisseur of nonprofits.
That's not even even if it was, it might only be in Canada. If you worked in America, you're not getting fucking sick days. Hell no.
You're not allowed to be sick. What's that? You're sick? No, you're not. Come to work.
But I mean, he's also the guy's worked there for 5 years. That's
true.
That's a pretty decent amount of time.
But he also has had a numbers tank before.
Which is true.
yes, he brought it back, and if he, if you let him work through this, he could bring it back again,
To average.
but you don't know if he's going to make it back through.
Mm.
So really, it's if you keep him on, you're gambling whether his numbers will stay super low and be of no benefit to the company and the community,
Yeah.
or you know be able to come back and do better.
Yeah. And like I said before, I personally it would also depend on some like how well the other people in my nonprofit team, or how well they are doing in comparison. Because if they're all bringing in excellent numbers, but Timmy, just this cancer's really getting to him, I feel like maybe I'd be able to brush it off a little easier. If everybody was doing like average or just breaking the line, then I would be more skeptical and more on point to get rid of this dude.
See, like, I completely understand where people will want to keep him on because, of course, you want to be a good person.
Yeah, I mean, he's
I,
that's his only source of income for his family. I mean, how big is his family? Do you know his family? Or are you gonna feel bad if he doesn't?
that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Like, basically, if you let him go, like, you could be just hanging his family out to dry,
Mm-hmm.
and then, but, I mean, really, where the conflict in this dilemma is you wanting to be a good person
Yeah.
versus
Being a good.
you as a business,
Yeah. So I guess it depends on which one you put first.
Not even first. Which one is like more immediately important?
To you.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it is important to always be a good person. However, there is times when being not a good person is required.
That is true. Can't always be nice.
Can't always be like perfect, always, and angelic, and like I don't know. I would still hesitate to let him go because
Mm-hmm.
it's like, yes, he has brought it back before,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm
Doesn't mean he
hesitant.
will. Yeah, I mean, suppose you do get rid of him, you still have to find somebody else to replace him, which may or may not be difficult, depending
That's
on
true. That's true.
what it is. Uh, he may have some key qualifications or some skills that others don't. It depends on how much of a important or key member of the team he's a part of. Your team
Hmm. Well,
as
you know
well.
what?
Yeah.
Actually, I just thought about something. It really does depend on how the nonprofit works, because you could let him go and then be part of a nonprofit that's dedicated to helping people like him who are suffering from cancer.
Yeah, and then you just be a massive hypocrite. That's
Well,
how you.
not necessarily. You'd be helping him for free.
I guess. Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, in a way.
Think about it, because,
But
but I
if he
mean,
if he's working, he's helping himself.
right.
Mm.
But if he's not working,
Right, he's just getting it for free.
yeah, and he is, it's not like he's doing it on purpose. If he was, he would be filing, the claim.
Mm-hmm.
So genuinely, he just, I think, with the nonprofit, yes, of course, he wants to bring in money, but he also wants to do it for like to feel good himself, because
Yeah.
nonprofits are those companies that make you feel good about working. They
It's
they
like
uh,
volunteer work.
they're fulfilling in one's self.
Yeah.
I don't know. This one's tough because okay,
Hmm.
personally,
Yeah.
with the poor prognosis, I would let him go.
Think so? Yeah. With the.
Because, I mean, he's going downhill. His numbers are going downhill. Things aren't looking good.
And it's gonna last
And
like at least 6 months, maybe, because that's how.
and
Yeah.
exactly, at least 6 months. That's a long time,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, I personally, I would let him go because, from a business standpoint, we can't afford to have, I guess, dead weight, you know,
Yeah,
dragging us down. As,
that's
as
true.
lovely as it sounds, you know.
Cause he is bringing your numbers down,
Yeah,
and it may or may not get better, but like he's still going through a 6 month round chemotherapy.
yeah. So personally speaking, I would allow him. Well, no, I'd fire him.
And it, and if he's gonna pass soon, yeah, I feel like it might be maybe a more moral thing, like you said, to leave him with his family, to
Yeah,
to spend his last moments there instead. I mean, I would at least, like, if I were to lay him off, I'd probably give him some like sick pay or some shit, you know, just.
well, I mean, if he has sick pay saved up, you got to pay it to him
Well,
anyways.
that's fair. I mean, that is fair. But I wouldn't want to leave on a sour note if I was a manager. I'd probably want to help the men as much as I could without burdening myself or the company too much.
Yeah. Well, what would you do personally though? Like, if you were tasked with this decision, what would you pick? What would you decide to do?
I would wait. I would see. I would probably, if it started to get really bad, I'd probably wait another week, maybe. See if it.
Well, I imagine it's at a point where it's like it is really bad.
Okay, if it's really bad, then I would probably, yeah, let him go. Because if his prognosis is not good, like if he went to the doctor and he's like, yeah, you got or you got to do a 6 month thing of chemotherapy, but you got a lot of cancer here. I feel like maybe it might be more beneficial to him and his family and to the company if he were to part ways. That sounded bad.
See, but like the other side of things is it really beneficial to his family? I mean,
Again,
yes,
because
they
it
get to
is.
see him more
Yeah.
because, of course, he's in a difficult time,
Mm-hmm.
but now they have no money coming into their house.
Oh, we gotta get that food stamps or whatever. Do we have food stamps?
Truth.
We got something.
I don't know. I don't know, man.
We got something for in Canada. I don't know what it is, but yeah, like if he's his, I'm assuming like if he is his family's sole source of income, he's probably like him and maybe a wife with a child.
Yeah,
But
I could see that.
I mean, I feel like I don't. I think the government pays you maybe or gives you some
Well,
money.
if he's been working steadily for the last 5 years, then
You should have enough.
of course you qualify for
Yeah,
EI,
yeah.
so you get that, but it's not much.
But it might be enough for the remaining amount of life he has. As cynical as that
True.
sounds, it might
And
be.
the other people in his household would be given time to find employment.
Yeah, or figure something out.
Yeah.
Go get a GoFundMe or something.
GoFundMe. That is true. Launch him a GoFundMe.
They can work sometimes.
Sometimes, every
Sometimes.
once in a while, when someone is feeling rather generous.
Yeah. But I don't think it's a morally incorrect thing to let him go. Because if you don't let him go, then maybe the other people on your team have to work extra hard to support that as you put it, dead weight,
Yeah,
and that's
that's
not
fair.
fair on
But
them.
like, if you keep him on, you have to consider his quality of life as well,
Mm-hmm.
because he's working and doing chemo and he's underperforming, so that's stressful. plus he's the only provider for his family.
Yeah.
You know, it's like...
And if he's dragging the team down, then it's even more stress on him.
Exactly.
I guess it's like
but from the other standpoint, if you let him go, now his family is all looking to him to be like, hey, what are we going to do now?
Mm.
You were giving us the money for the household. You know, now we're screwed.
No, we're boned.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yes, that'd be stressful, but I feel like it would be more impeding on his life quality if he were to stay working.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's propose a little bit different of a scenario then.
Okay.
So, I'll twist it a little. So, let's say his cancer did come back. He has to go through 1 year chemo.
Oh.
But if he completes the full year, then he will definitely get better, and then his numbers can go back up.
That's a year,
but
though.
For that 1 year, they're going to be completely bottomed out.
No, no. I mean, I'm no business person. I'm no business analyst or man, or I don't do the business shit, the numbers. But I would assume like 1 week of really crappy work is already pretty detrimental. So I couldn't imagine of what multiple weeks, even a year, could do for your numbers. I don't see why he couldn't come back if he were to complete that chemo. Like, that would be definitely...
So you'd invite him to come back after the 1 year?
Potentially, because I might in that time find somebody who's just even better, and I might say, well, sorry dude, you just sucked, and sucks to suck, you know, situations happened, your numbers tanked, you got cancer, I had to do something for the company. It really does
sound bad when you say it like that. Like, it sounds so, like,
almost emotionless,
bad, where you're just like, yeah, you sound
heartless,
unemotional. Yeah, but in all reality, that's the truth.
it is what it is. You do have cancer, and that is affecting your numbers to a point where it's, you know, it's really detrimental to the company. Sorry, it is this way, but it is that way, you know.
See, I would agree with you. Like, I would still let him go, but I would, because his numbers were good for the last while, I'd say, hey, look, you're sick, you need to get better. I can give you a position when you're better. So come back and talk to me once you are not sick anymore.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I wouldn't necessarily go so far as to say I may or may not hire you back. I would go with I will hire you back. You definitely have a job here if you come back.
Okay, that is fair.
I'd give him like a confirmed job. Because that way he knows, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's not like, oh no, like if I do get better, what's going to happen?
That would add another level of stress. So that's fair.
But I mean, even if he had good prognosis, you'd never know. Things could take a turn
at any point
really quickly.
Yeah.
So I feel like it would be a safer bet for the business to let this fellow go.
Yeah, because like we said, he can always come back. There's no harm in that.
You know, we really do sound really capitalist. Like, what's best for the business?
Well, okay.
Forget the individual.
But if we keep him on, that's gonna put stress on you or on me, because now I have to find a way to fill in a gap where his numbers were. It might put stress on on like my coworkers because they have to pick up the slack. It's gonna put even more stress on me because I don't know if this guy's gonna pop any second, you know. I don't want to have to deal with that paperwork if there is any paperwork. Not
When he passes,
when he passes, if he just dies at work, you know.
I'm pretty sure you just pay to his estate, and then the family gets whatever's inherited from him.
Mm.
So they just get his last 2-week paycheck, you know, like.
Yeah. So, you know, I feel like it might cause more stress if you were to keep him on, and then yeah, it's causing him stress because he's doing poor work. Because he's going through cancer and whatnot. So yeah, definitely, it may sound more capitalist to fire him, but I feel like it's also maybe the more considerate thing to do as well.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I don't know. I'd still like hesitate. I would guarantee him a job if he gets better, but I'd let him go in both scenarios because in all reality, we don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And although it's unfortunate, that's just the way it is. I mean, I imagine that's what this act is to prevent. The what is it, American Disabilities Act?
It's to prevent
Americans
people.
To prevent employers from firing you if you're dying.
Or if you, yeah.
But I mean, if he's not gonna file a claim, then that's a him problem. The smart thing to do, if he didn't want to lose his job, would be to file a claim.
But like you said earlier, we're not firing him because he's dying.
He's disabled. That's true.
We're firing him because his numbers suck.
This is true.
Causation versus correlation, I think. You know, his numbers suck because he has cancer. No,
well, I mean, there's a correlation.
There is a correlation, yeah.
But it is not a causation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's no provable causation. Maybe
For sure.
He's just getting worse at fundraising, you know?
Yeah,
maybe he's just getting worse at his job.
Or becoming more lazy. Maybe he's just given up on life after getting that chemotherapy. Maybe it's too burdening on him. Maybe his D&D character died. You never know.
Who knows? Man, that'd be big sad. Can you imagine that? It's just like, oh, well, we lost Tim. I guess his character dies. No, that was our only paladin.
The worst. But yeah.
Yeah, all right. That's fair enough.
Well, thank you for listening to The Gray Area. As always, if you like the video, you can like and share it. Or if you had different opinions, you can leave them in the comments below.
All right, wonderful. Have a good one.